Okay. All right. Haven't given an update in a while. It's kind of trashed in here. I've been working on the kitchen area. Let's see if I can get enough light. Okay, that's a little better. So that's the new microwave panel. Range hood is installed mostly. It's not wired up quite yet. I've got to replace this piece and this piece with this Formica. I didn't want to order a whole new sheet of Formica because I think it's $100 or something, and I was only going to use one this size around the microwave, and that there, and this piece here. But I didn't want to order a whole sheet because in the closet down underneath where this carpet is now, but I put a 1/2-inch sheet of plywood, but this was a Formica panel that was in there. So it was a piece about 2 feet wide by 45 inches long, and so I just hacked it up, and now my closet can hold more weight anyway. It's kind of dirty in there now, but yeah, so that was kind of an interesting process, but I think the microwave turned out looking okay. I've got some trim that I've got to put up here and some trim that I got to put here. And once I get this replaced, I'm going to do a piece of, where is it? I got it laying around somewhere. I've got a piece of the original mahogany, or not mahogany, teak, original teak trim that I'm going to use to do all the trim work that's left. For this top piece, it's going to be a different piece. Most of the top, any of the trim on the top is more, it's thicker, and it's a different shape. So I think what I'm going to do, because this whole area is getting replaced with a couch, I think I'm going to snag one piece of trim from one of these areas in here, but I'm not sure which one I can take yet, so that's just going to remain bare for a while, which is fine. It doesn't look terrible. It's pretty flush with the ceiling. This isn't even secured yet. I've got to, oh well, you can see it, but I've got to build a mounting, I have to build I have to run a board from here to here, because this is actually, this cabinet is actually holding up the other half of the weight that is the microwave stand. I've got to build, just run some boards in there to seat the microwave so it doesn't wiggle and rattle. On all 4 sides, I'm going to do that. And then on this far side, you can't see it, but I've got to run a board from basically the ceiling, or just, the wall, to the platform, so I've got something to staple this to before I tack it to in place. So that's what it looks like without, but it's gonna look pretty good. I'm currently working on taking apart my refrigerator area, and I've taken it apart down to the bare floor already. It's right about there. There's a hole in the floor where the gas line was. I'm not using any gas in here, so I just unscrewed it and removed it. At one point, there was a bit of a leaking problem somewhere in this. This is the refrigerator vent. I don't know if you're going to be able to... No, you can't see up there, but that was the refrigerator vent out the top of the RV. And it leaked at one point in time. It didn't do any damage to the floor because they had a heavy layer of silicone that they had just basically created a whole sheet, and it kind of dripped. I'm not sure, but as you can see, it's weathered, but the floor is not dry. There's no rot in it, which I'm fine with. It's good. There used to be a subfloor that held the other fridge all the way right there, and there's still a piece left of it, this piece, that I haven't taken out. The fridge that was in here before was 57 inches tall, and the new fridge that I've got is 59 inches tall. So when they took out the old refrigerator, they left these two holes in the Formica on either side. And I believe this was an actual cutout to fit the hinge for the refrigerator. The new refrigerator that I've got comes with some back sheeting panels that are going to be used to keep it in place, and I don't need a space for the hinge, at least not that I can figure yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop a line directly across and take that piece out. This drawer will almost be, or this cabinet will almost be flush with the top of the refrigerator. So between the shadow and the black refrigerator trim, you won't be able to see, anything that's left over there. On the bottom, luckily, and the reason I bought the refrigerator was because on the bottom, I got about, 4 or 5 inches of spare space underneath where the old refrigerator used to sit that I can play with. So I'm going to find the right height for this refrigerator. I'm going to build a new subfloor, and I am going to just cut a line across wherever it ends up being in here, and I'll just take that part out, and that'll be a nice little upgrade, because this refrigerator is a 10 cubic foot refrigerator, whereas the gas and DC and AC units usually end up being about 7 cubic feet. So this refrigerator is going to hold quite a bit more. Another problem I have in this area is the refrigerator is 23 inches deep. And I think looking for my tape measure, but it's 23 inches deep, and that is not including the door. So this is also a curved motorhome. It's kind of built like an Airstream, where the back wall is not a straight, or this wall is not a straight line, but it's a curve. I don't know if you can see, but it's curved like that. And so what I'm dealing with is I have to take out this 110 outlet and the pack of wires that goes to the back of my panel is in the way and needs to be moved. So what I'm hoping for, and also these wires that are running on top of the guard here, the grate, the vent, they're also not going to be able to fit with the refrigerator in there either. But this is the panel for the old electric step that doesn't work and has been removed on the underside. And this other is the door light, which is that, which I believe I'm just also going to remove. I'm going to put another one in down there when I get to that point, but that can be done later. So there's not too much critical in here other than the panel control wires. I have to keep those, and if I get into a real bind, what I'm going to have to do is if they can't snug into that corner any better to allow the fridge to get by, because you can't see it here, but I do have about a 3/4 of an inch gap where the fridge is really going to come it's about an inch from the wall. So I'm hoping to be able to tuck that wire far enough in there and up and over that I can fit the refrigerator. If that doesn't work, I have to take out the pantry drawers, and I'm going to put that wire behind the pantry drawers, and then I'm going to drill a hole up here and bring the wire across over to the panel anyway. So that's going to be a little bit of a process. The other thing I have to do in here is on the refrigerator, I don't want the lights to flicker when it's cooling. And so these 12 volt, the original 12 volt wires that they have, that I have access to, are linked to the original panel distribution. And if I use the original wires, I'm expecting that I'm going to get lights flickering, and I don't really want to have that. So I think that I have to run a separate fused 12 volt wire from the batteries. So another thing that I'm dealing with is I've got 2 of these gel batteries. You can see just by looking at it that they're quite a bit larger than your average deep cycle battery. The underneath storage compartment, the fiberglass compartment that holds the batteries, is a sliding drawer that's meant for that size of battery. So I can only fit one in there. And what that does is it just makes it to where I have to split wires and bring one battery and set it here and then run more wires back over there. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually just use that slider drawer for something else. I'm not entirely sure what yet, but it might turn into my solar panel control. I haven't decided. It's not set in stone yet. But I'm going to bring those 2 big batteries, and I'm going to put them there and there, and then I'm going to move this battery back outside underneath the... No, I probably won't. What I'll probably do is I'll just run that battery right there, because I have a shut-off switch for the system, for the motorhome ignition, because it's been badly messed with over the years. And anyway, so this area is getting a big U-shaped couch to sit on instead of a desk type thing. But what I'm going to do in this area is there's going to be kind of a couch that leans across, but it's going to be a multi-purpose or multi-use, multi-function area. It's going to have a table that is capable of flipping out from under one of the cushions. That table is also going to raise or lower depending on if you're going to use the area for a bed. And then it'll be easily foldable away, and the cushion can be just thrown away too. And it's going to serve as a step, couch area, leg rest type of area. So this is all going to be covered with basically couch, and I'm gonna I have some nice big rubber matting that I'm gonna put on the floor, so that, you know, they're not loud, they don't bounce. I'm gonna build a little separate box for all of the batteries with a flip lid for the access to the switch and to the solar panel controller and to the charging station and all of the different things that come along with having solar panels. And that'll be in a switch that has a lid, and it'll flip up and you'll have access to what you need in there, or I'll have access to what I need in there. I replaced this carpet. This 35-year-old blue carpet has all been replaced. It used to look about like that stuff. Brown. Well, it used to be blue, but then it turned brown with whatever the previous owners were doing. The carpet was there, or the blue carpet was also in this spot, but so now all of the carpet is finally gone. This was quite a chore. I also covered the engine hatch, which came out looking fairly nice as well. One of my pleats is a little uneven, but turned out okay. And I like it, and it smells better in here. It smells way better. Let's see, I think that's all the new stuff that I've got going on. I'm not sure if this was in any of my previous videos, but I've now redone and installed the kitchen counter. I just can't remember right now if I've shown it before, but I've got all working plumbing, and that was quite a chore. I've got way more than typical access. I think I've got probably 2 feet of extra room behind this cabinet, which before this would have right almost to the nose of this cabinet, you would have had your hot water heater. And so now I've got a AC 4-gallon hot water heater. I'm not particularly fond of that unit, but it works. It serves its purpose for now until I can find something better. And so I'm going to build a nice little shelf that has flow-through access to the knob to the hot water heater, so I can change the temperature if I want. This is a household sink unit, and so it required standard size plumbing. So I had to figure out the plumbing. It was a whole bunch of extra work because this is a standard house unit, and it was just really quite a process. The plumbing used to come through this hole, and now it's, you know, you can't see it because it's dark in there, but all the plumbing works great now. And this is going to get covered with a cutting board. It's going to be built in, and it's going to be 2 separate cutting boards, so you can access half of the sink and still have kitchen space to cut food or whatever you're going to do. This is my ozonator, because ozonators help with the stinkiness of old motorhomes, and sometimes it's hard to live in an old motorhome that stinks like 35 years of piss. It doesn't anymore, but that's where my ozonator landed. So another thing I'm doing is I got this little, let's see if I can do it with, so I got this little thing. What you can see what it, I think you can tell what it does initially. So it's going to go somewhere about right there. It's going to mount flush with the top of the countertop, but what this is a, it's a series of outlets and USB port for charging a phone, and you can adjust, like if you let me see if I can get clever with this. Okay, so if you don't want all three outlets exposed, if you're using just one, it kind of, you don't have to have them all out. You can have it just popped up a little for your phone charger if you want, or you know, whatever you can run on USB cords. And so that's kind of a neat little thing. I don't know, I didn't have any other outlets on here, and so I need to be able to make coffee because the coffee's important. Another thing, I was thinking it might actually land here, just because it'll be, well, I'm not sure. I haven't decided where it's going to land yet, but it'll go it'll go somewhere on the counter. So that's a neat little thing. And like I said, it's a mess, but the kitchen area actually looks pretty good. This is I did this myself. This is a epoxy countertop with metallic mica powder, and what I did was I put a bunch of layers on and mixed them all together. Got some gold and some silver and some black, and it looks okay. And then I got the spots by spraying it with alcohol, just droplets of alcohol. It kind of separates, allows you to get down into the lower layer. So that turned out pretty nice, I think. So that's my kitchen area. And I need to do I'm not worried about it yet, but I'm going to put a backsplash in here of something, and a cup, or I mean some way to, I think a plate holder, a vertical plate cabinets with silverware cubbies underneath, so that I'm not taking up a whole bunch of room inside the cabinets that needs to be used for food, or you know, it just supplies and things. This pantry holds way more than it looks. These things are actually pretty neat. You're just not they're much bigger than they look. You could fit, I think you could probably fit, I don't know how many cans you could fit in this thing, but it's a lot. You could, I'm guessing you could probably fit 25 or 30 canned food in there, in each one of these. I mean, this is a 18-inch roll of, I forget what this stuff's called, but it slides all the way in, and I've still got room for a can of plumbing glue in each. So I've got a bunch of those, and then underneath is my fire extinguisher and ammonia and apparently my wood glue and a bottle of cleaner. I think that's all the new stuff that's happened. Oh, no, I do have one more new thing. So I looked for a long time on different websites, and I couldn't find anywhere to buy the shrouds for the older Coleman units. And so I scalped through a few old trailers. None of them had a decent one. So what I did was I took parts from this one because this unit's going away, and that's going to be just a skylight or a vent or something. But I scalped parts from that one, and I made one complete unit, and then I epoxy resined it, and I made it pretty again. You can kind of see it's a little shiny, but it all turned out pretty great. When I was putting it in, because the ceiling's curved, I cracked it, which that was a glued crack anyway, so I've just left it. I haven't fixed it yet. Same result on the other side. So that thing's a lot nicer to look at now, and it's still brittle. The plastic is 35 years old, but it's still relatively brittle. I've bumped my head on it a few times, and it doesn't break anymore. But like this is how it used to look. This ugly yellow with 35 years of rot, and it's super easy to break these. And so you bump your head on it and it breaks. That's from bumping my head. And so yeah, that's the Revcon. I think that's everything new. The short video turned into a half-hour long video. I apologize. But oh, one last thing. This area that used to be, let's see, underneath, behind that cabinet panel, was the propane heating system, the old box propane heater unit. There was a drawer there, which is still there now. There was a drawer there, which is no longer there. And on top, from there to there was a gap in the countertop, because the old propane unit, the knobs were on the front, and that was gone when I got this. And there were two of these, the old style New Wave infrared cooking system panels, just crudely plywooded in to two different spots on here. And the extension cord used to come through that hole right there to run them. But so what I did, these particular units, this Revcon unit never came with an oven. It did come with a microwave that was installed up there, but when I got this, there was a giant microwave. That cupboard, or whatever you call it, was not installed, but it was sitting underneath that couch. And the microwave literally went from that wall to that hole in the side of the wall there, and it was just this gigantic 1980s microwave that did not belong anywhere except for a garbage dump. And there was no range hood, and there was no spot to place a microwave. It was bolted. The other one was bolted to the ceiling. So I found this microwave for $15 at Goodwill. I had this Breville oven unit. That's a $250 little countertop oven, but it works really, really well. And this is a $200 induction cooktop that actually works really well as well. Makes a little bit of noise, but it heats up super quick, and the generator is fully capable of powering it. And I think I tested the generator on the 110 kitchen stuff. I can run the induction cooktop and the oven at the same time, or I can run the cooktop and the hot water heater at the same time. But there's a built-in switch. I can't run the microwave and the hot water heater at the same time because there's a switch to choose between the two. And that's currently actually behind the microwave, kind of tucked in. I've got to make a spot for it somewhere on the side of, I think on that little section of panel right there. But I can run pretty much what I need to run to cook a meal with just the generator running for, you know, maybe a half an hour, whatever it takes to cook the meal. And other than that, I don't have anything else AC in here, so it's not really a big problem. But the main point of me telling you all of that was about this panel. And so this RV didn't come with a whole bunch of space for food storage, because if you're going to be, what I'm thinking about for this RV is that I want it to be capable of existing off-grid for a substantial amount of time, possibly in the months range. And so, and that's assuming, by the way, that there's going to be a small trailer pulled behind it that's going to carry diesel for the heating system. If the diesel, the diesel for the heating system, if it's wintertime. If not, then if you want to run the air conditioner, you have to use the generator. And other than that, you can sit outside and, you know, be hot if it's summertime. But so that's the food storage. So a bigger refrigerator. I've got this storage space, which is about 7 or 8 inches deep and maybe a foot tall. I've got these four pantry drawers. I've got this cabinet, which is actually deeper than it looks, and it looks like you could hold, you know, quite a bit in there. I've got this area and this area, but if you've got, you know, books and supplies and tools and you know, whatever else you take with you, you know, to use out in the wilderness or whatever, wherever you're going, the desert, whatever, then, you know, you've got stuff with you. And so I'm basically counting on these two front cabinets to not be able to be used for food. And so my primary food cabinets are this, and the four